This is the web series for the love of BIM, promoting Barbados, everything Bajan Canadian, and everything Canadian Bajan. Welcome to episode 9 in season 3 of the web series for the love of BIM. I am your host, Sonia Marvel Carter. So much is happening daily, it is almost too much to keep up. Canada's federal election has passed, and the Liberal Party has again formed the government, however, still with a minority, and Justin Trudeau has been returned as Prime Minister. Barbados' Prime Minister is in the USA attending the UN General Assembly meetings.
If I use a speech prepared for me to deliver today, it would be a repetition of what you have heard from others and also from me. Equally, how many more times will we then have a situation where we say the same thing over and over and over to come to naught?
And while in the US, she conducted a meeting with the diaspora.
Work with our people and get as many people willing to come forward and ask for help if they need help, because the race is not for the swift, but it's for those who endure, for those who accept. The hardest thing is to know.
Specifically, the medical fraternity, requesting assistance from any medical trained personnel willing to volunteer their services in Barbados to assist with the fight against the COVID-19 virus, as our medical human resource in Barbados is fast becoming overwhelmed and burnt out, and therefore any relief which can be had to give them an opportunity to recharge would be much appreciated. So if you are medically trained and interested in volunteering your services, may it be 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year, please signal your interest by emailing us at torontoinfo@foreign.gov.bb. We will also make the new registration form available, so look out for that link on social media. Today we have another very interesting guest as we chat with Dr. Eleanor Gittens. Dr. Gittens is a forensic psychologist and a professor at Georgian College in Barrie, Ontario. But before we chat with Eleanor, I want to share another one of the top reasons to study in Canada, according to EduCanada. And they say, the cost to study and live here is affordable. Canada is known for having some of the lowest university tuition fees among English-speaking countries. Whatever your budget may be, you'll find something just right for you in our diverse range of educational options. Research the cost of post-secondary programs and living expenses in the city or town of your choice so you can prepare your budget. Now, on to our feature for today. Hi, good afternoon, Eleanor, or should I say Dr. Gittens?
Eleanor is fine.
Okay, welcome to an episode of For the Love of BIM. And for our viewers, just introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Well, my name is Eleanor Gittins. I'm a professor at Georgian College on the Aurelia campus. I teach in the Police Studies degree program, and my expertise, my specialization, or my qualifications are in forensic psychology.
Forensic psychology. Tell us exactly what that is.
Forensic psychology actually is a very broad field, and it encompasses all of the aspects of applying the theories, the principles of psychology to the criminal justice field. So it can involve anything from, the assessment, fitness to stand trial assessment of an offender, to child custody evaluation, to death notifications. It really is quite a wide gamut of fields and areas within forensic psychology.
What got you interested in forensic psychology?
Actually, psychology found me. So when I started at McMaster University and I started in business, I failed programming. To this day, I am horrible at programming. I failed programming, but in the business program, in order to move from first year to second year, you have to pass all of your courses. So then I had to decide, was I going to redo first year or was I going to move on? And the course that I really enjoyed in first year was the intro to psychology. So I moved into the psychology department, and I loved it from there on. psychology, because it's so broad, many people can do an undergraduate in psychology and go on to do many other things like marketing or human resources, etc. And that when I graduated, I wasn't actually sure what aspect of psychology I wanted to settle on. And because during my studies at McMaster, I worked part-time in the computer labs and doing computer support, I actually got my first job as a computer consultant in Japan. And it was on the flight over to Japan, there was this wicked documentary on something called investigative psychology. And I thought, oh, this looks interesting. So I spent some time investigating it, and I decided that's what I wanted to do. So my master's is in investigative psychology, and then my PhD is in psychology with a specialization in forensic psychology.
So tell us how you got into teaching then.
I would say I've kind of been a natural teacher for all of my life. So I've taught at various levels. As a young teen, I taught computer skills in my aunt's computer school to kids a little younger than myself. In my early 20s, I taught math. So I did math lessons at CXC and at secondary school level. And once I completed my PhD, I started teaching. I actually started teaching at the master's level. So I started teaching for a master's in forensic psychology. And then I transitioned to this job that I'm in, which is an undergraduate in police studies.
Do you see a lot of Caribbean students or Barbadian students in your field coming into Georgian College or so forth? Do you see a lot of Barbadians?
No, it's funny. I don't really see many Barbadian or even Caribbean students on my campus, but bear in mind, my campus is very small and there really isn't much diversity. I did have one Bajan student and I saw him for one semester and I don't know where he disappeared to. Mm-hmm. What I have noticed is that the students that I have interacted with, they are of African or Caribbean heritage. So they weren't necessarily born there, but their parents or their grandparents were born there.
Tell us, I understand that you took a class to Barbados, or was it more than one class, or it was just on one occasion? Tell us about that.
Yes, so that's actually one of the selling points. When I did my interview for this job, I sold to them that I could design an experiential learning trip for students and take them to Barbados. And I did that within the first 2 years of getting the job. So the first trip was in 2016. So there have been 2 trips, but there was a third trip planned, but of course, COVID ruined those plans. But so the first trip was in 2016, and the goal really of the trip was to kind of showcase elements of diversity that my students in particular may not have had in their everyday life. So diversity as it relates to culture and food, and specifically the criminal justice system. So the students, they enjoyed themselves tremendously. They had a good balance of fun and formal learning though. So we did things like the island safari tour, we did a catamaran cruise, but they also toured a number of police stations, the Supreme Court, the prison, and the psychiatric hospital. So there really was a good balance of activities. And the feedback from the kids has always been very, very positive, with many of the students kind of reflecting on the substantial impact it has had on them, even with respect to, the choice of food. Some kids weren't even adventurous when it came to food, but we really don't have Canadian fare in Barbados. So they didn't have a choice, and they didn't think that they would like it, but they thoroughly enjoyed it. And since then have become more adventurous, even in the small aspect of eating. So it really has had a significant impact on many of those students. And many of those students have gone on to become police officers now. Well, I do a couple of different things. So I tend to do research with police agencies. So with the OPP, Toronto Police Service, Barrie Police. Um, and it really is around helping them to determine, if they may have a question and they would like that question to be intelligence led or evidence based. So gathering that information for them and putting it together. However, I really did have the good fortune of creating a partnership between my college and RSS Regional Security System, um, where we provide courses for law enforcement and military personnel in Barbados and the members of state for RSS over a 3-year period, where we train them in various areas that they had identified that they needed some further development. So we are now in the second year of that partnership, and it's been going really, really well.
Eleanor, can you tell us or give the Barbadian student who wants to come to Canada a little inside information based on your experience? Somebody from Barbados wanting to study in Canada, what are the top things they should do or need to know?
I would say the first thing they should do is do your research. And you're not just researching the various educational institutions that you're interested in, but also research the area that they're in. Connect with students who are currently studying at that institution. And when I was coming to MAC, my parents introduced me to a student who was already at MAC, and I found that was supremely helpful. So being able to connect with somebody that has previously studied at that institution or who is currently there that can kind of mentor you when you arrive, that would be fantastic. I've studied in a number of countries, and I would say Canada stands tall above all of them. Many of the colleges and universities here have cultural associations that you can join, and you can find like-minded individuals and, quickly form friendships. They have events for their members, social events. They create opportunities for mentorship. So when you're looking to leave home, you worry about, some people are very excited. So they don't worry about feeling homesick and whatnot, and others are nervous. And I would like to reassure them that once you've done all of your research and you've connected with others, when you get here, everybody's warm, everybody's welcoming, and somebody will help you find your way.
Thank you so much, Eleanor, for sharing with us. And I hope those contemplating studying here will see that there is a wide scope and there is always opportunity to help others while you are here and to give back to your homeland. I also want to remind our viewers that we are all multidimensional beings, and Eleanor is no exception. She has some very interesting hobbies, and whereas academia may be her calling, she has a passion for so much more. So join us next week for part 2 as we continue our chat with Eleanor and she shares the other interesting dimensions of her life. Now to the birthday shoutouts. Special congratulations to all celebrants. Mark, Minister Marsha, Sweetie Talisa, my cousin Enrico, Dr. Sherry, of course Mom Thompson, and another one of my cousins, Lana. But there are 2 extra special mentions, and they are Ira Jarvis, who celebrates 109 years tomorrow, Sunday. Now you have to admit, that is an achievement incomparable, and then some. And the other extra special mention is this little cutie pie, Aria, who celebrates 1 year on Monday. I know her parents and grandparents are over the moon. Again, I hope all celebrants have had or will have a great birthday. Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. But join us next week for part 2 with Dr. Eleanor Gittins. We're going to get up close and personal with Eleanor. Be safe, get vaccinated, continue to adhere to the protocols, and play your part to stop the spread of the COVID-19 virus. See you next week.
You have been watching Fuhdeloveuhbim.